Thank you. Hello, everybody. This is Oakwalker, and I'm here with Stronghorse Caldwell. We are Earth Medicine for the Soul, and we are here to basically just kick around ideas that are relative to spirituality and our animistic and shamanic slant on all of these things based on years and years and years of training that we've gone through with different mentors and different teachers. Today, I plan on kicking it straight over to Stronghorse because he's got a thread going on in his mind that I'm really appreciating as a strong discussion to have. And so, Stronghorse, I'm just going to kick it over to you right now.
All right. Yeah, we're it's sort of a multi subject that we're talking about. I guess we're going to open up kind of a can of worms, I guess. But
Mm.
it started out, I was thinking about we ought to talk about allies because that's one of the things that really differentiates our particular spirit path from a lot of others or from religion is that we developed uh, compatriots within the spirit world that and these compatriots can be ancestors, they can be mountains, they can be. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a ton of different types of spirit entities that if you if you if you really give them the respect that they are looking for, they will give you the respect that you're looking for. And when that occurs, there's a mutual beneficial relationship that is established.
Well, um,
Have been in ceremony. We've had these experiences a lot of other people don't have. And once you have those experiences, then you're literally uh, accepting things that a lot of other people would not accept, because they think it's strange or kooky or outside. What's that keep flashing up there, man?
I don't know. It
Earth
keeps
medicine for the
turning
soul.
my video off um,
Hmm.
voluntarily.
So, all right. So, what that is, that opened up into a whole nother level of thinking where I realized it came to me that one of the greatest fears that the human has is being alone. They're terrified of being alone, and it pushes people into behavioral modalities that aren't really normal. That they aren't really in our world. They're not normal, and they're in what we'll call the colonial world.
Hmm.
They are normal. They people take, people lie, people manipulate, people dominate and control out of one particular reason, that is they're terrified of being alone. And, they haven't established the kind of allies or created the level of respect that we have with the spirit world. So, they don't have that resource. That's not something that's acceptable to them or consciously available to them or comforting to them at all. And so when they say they're alone, man, they are alone. I mean, they're really alone because
In their mind, they are.
yeah, in their mind, they are because they haven't culturalized the relationships you and I have with the world around us. And so, we function in a very different kind of modality than they do. We are consciously and unconsciously aware of an expanded world that's around us that knows us. Literally, they know who we are more than we know who we are. They're available to us as a resource. They're eager to work with us to assist us. And so, as I got to thinking about, we're moving into this new world.
Hmm.
This is going to become a huge piece in this. This is going to flip everything because uh, the more conscious people become, more aware they are going to become of the planet, the consciousness on the planet, their ancestors, etc. The things that you and I kind of do as a normal day-to-day functioning, it will become new to them, and they'll open up to them, and it will create a dynamic that really goes a long way towards defeating this fear of being alone. And I think that's something we need to dig into. So can you jump into that?
I can. That goes so wide and broad because I'm kind of working on something right now, an article I'm trying to write that sort of is talking about the very opposite thing, but they do come together. And they come together because here's the problem. We have this cultural um, like trend going on right now that's like the Marlboro Man. It's the lone cowboy. It's everybody can get through this situation because they have to be bigger, tougher, stronger, more toxic, meaner, leaner, and a loner, right? But that doesn't work. It's never worked. It's never ever going to work. And and the reason for that is because human beings are gregarious. They're naturally designed to be in communities and in tribes and in families. And within this venue or milieu, we have learned to survive against all odds, really. Any species with our issues should never have made it this far. We have a lot of weaknesses, inherent weaknesses in who we are and what we do. But you're talking about a different kind of aloneness. And the kind of aloneness that you're talking about is that psychological aloneness where you can be completely isolated within your group or your family or inside of a room of people. And this does terrify people because when a human, and they're related to the same thing, when a human being feels alone, that's terrifying because they're not designed to be alone. You know, it's not part
Right.
of our human design. I'm just going to say design too many times.
Yeah, it's not the way we're.
Right. We're not wired like that. And couldn't
It's
have
kind of, you
sur
and I kind of use that term.
yeah.
Right.
And so what happens is that when people don't have that connection to their own internal peace, their connection to what we are calling those allies. And I don't know, I don't remember if you just touched on this, but before we were talking, you were talking about the fact that you and I relate to the entire universe as having consciousness within it. And that's a key thing. That's where the idea that a animal or a mountain or a any object or any being in the universe can become an ally because we believe we all share the same consciousness ultimately. That's where the connections are. That's where the interconnectedness between all of life, the universe, and everything lies. It's in the fact that everything is conscious. So when people lose that connection, that very connection, that's when they can believe in their own minds that they are alone, when in fact they're not. People are never really alone. But that belief that you can be separated from your creator, that you can be separated from spirit, that you can be separated from every other being in the universe, that is terrifying. And that's what leads to a lot of the psychoses we see when we have people acting out in odd and strange ways, such as narcissism, the hoarding syndrome, things that are leading our entire cult and supremacy. Uh, that's
Right.
really key because supremacy becomes then the engine for colonialism. It's also the engine, if it's the engine for colonialism, then it's also the engine for capitalism. It's the engine for toxic masculinity, and it's the engine for patriarchy, right? All of which are currently falling to pieces right now. They're uh, they're paradigms that don't work. They're not taking care of humans in the grander sense of things. So the connection with believing that you can be alone and and the psychoses of the problems that we're viewing right now in the world on the globe are tightly connected because it isn't possible to actually really truly be alone.
Yeah, I want to back into some of our previous discussions and pull up knowing again, and I'm kind of operating under the premise that you have knowledge and then you have knowing. Knowledge
Mm.
is a collection of experiences that mankind has experienced and recorded, and they pass along their what they experienced within that particular experience, and that becomes a body of knowledge. Knowing's a whole different deal. Knowing is an internal connection to creation and connection to the stream of livingness that you and I are
Yes.
familiar with because we've chosen to go out there and find it. I
Yeah.
mean, not or we chose to go out there, and then when we did, we found it.
Right.
Well, I don't know that I was
Went
exactly,
looking.
well, I go do that. I
Who'd
would,
have thunk?
it just, it popped up. I was like, yo.
Oh, look
And
at that.
so, yeah, let's do that.
Right? That was well
You
stated.
know, Yeah, and so this knowing is on a psychological basis is a completely different scope, and I'm gonna travel all the way back to the to Genesis and the Garden of Eden, and kind of I mean I can see this. I kind of play this scenario off in my head, where man grabs this apple, and he's like, God, that looks good. I'm really hungry. And this voice says, Yeah, I wouldn't eat that if I was you. I don't, it's not going to work out too well for you. And he's holding knowledge in his hand, right? It's an apple from the tree of knowledge. And man goes, Did you hear that? And the snake goes, Hear what? He goes, They said don't eat the apple. They go, No, I didn't hear a thing. Oh, okay. Well, good. Then I'll eat the apple. And so when man took that bite and entered into the world of knowledge, they let go of knowing. They let go of that primal instinct that is so captivating on a healthy basis. And so once they turned away from that, they did what I call they stepped in front of God. And the
Oh,
moment they
that's well
stepped in
put.
front
Yeah.
of God, yeah, they lost that they lost that connection and they were trapped. They had to prove that that was a really good decision,
Yeah.
And so they worked and worked and worked and like, I'm sure we've got this and then the more they worked, the more they kept trying to justify their actions and their decisions and their beliefs,
Right.
and it
Piling
just
one
became
bad
a
decision on top of another.
yeah, and we can throw terms around like patriarchy and colonialism and all of this, and it's valid. Those are valid terms that have to be acknowledged and looked at from the exploitation of them. But in
Oh, you're breaking up again. Hang on a second.
in a pattern of behavior, in a pattern of behavior where he constantly had to justify his existence
Yeah.
when in fact he didn't. you know,
Right.
and that's one of the things that you and I end up with when we talk about isolation. I mean, because I think when we, as pioneers within this sort of movement, as as Melchizedeks who are kind of out on the front lines of this stuff, we become isolated because we're transformers, and so part of
Philosophically, yeah.
becoming yeah, part of becoming a transformer is you can't be part of the system,
Yeah.
because you can't change something you're part of, because then you're caught up in that justification loop again, you
Hmm.
know? And and part of that justification is you've got people around you that are expecting you to behave in a certain way because they need that for their justification. And everybody's sort of caught in this party that they never really wanted to be in and didn't know why they didn't want to be in. And so it created an internal anxiety inside of them that they can't cope with, you know,
Yeah,
because there's really no consensus of there's not an exit strategy. You know, that's what I kind
yeah,
of what I keep. I get off on listen to all the stuff right now. You look at these little, you know, these spins and everything they keep throwing out, and I take them and I put them in a bigger context, you know, like. And that's like with Trump right now. He had a no exit strategy, and I'm like, nobody's got an exit strategy, you
there's an
know.
exit.
Everybody's looking for the off ramp because they don't
Yeah,
like because they're caught in the LA freeway and they never they if they could just get off that LA freeway and not get caught or die, you know,
right.
it's a it's just but we're on the way. What's happening is this new world, the new shift on the planet. That's our off ramp, and it's coming.
It is coming. And the exit strategy is to admit that you were wrong, which an egocentric
Right,
individual is going to have an extremely difficult time doing, right? Because they have
right,
been, for millennia now, have been raised to shout over that still small voice that's within them. And the entire secret to the problem is to shut up. It's just to shut up,
right.
right? And have a listen. And that's the thing that people don't seem to be able to do because they're constantly trying to justify their existence, right? There's the catch 22 in there. But there is a way out because you and I have both done it. You know how to shut up. I do it every morning for at
Well,
least a minute.
yeah, but I think that the difference we have though is that when we shut up, we went outside.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we what we found was if we go outside and sit next to a tree and just shut up, we learn stuff. You know, because the tree, the tree wants to share
Yeah.
its knowing with us. You know, and so we, so that's not odd for us. You know, I think I've told a story before, but it's still pretty funny to me. You know, I remember I had this girlfriend for a while, and she'd go up upset at me, and I'd say, "Well, just go outside and hug a tree." And she says, "God, I can really pick them." You know, I was like, "Yeah, well, it's a new day. Get used
Yeah.
to it." And but I mean, that's really true. I mean, I think, the problem people have is they don't know what the alternative is.
Hmm.
They don't know what the choices are, and there's where our educational system screwed us.
Yeah.
I mean, they've I mean, just about every school is designed like a prison for a reason, you know, and they want to produce inmates,
Yeah.
and they have,
Well,
and
they're trying to make producers, just
there's
producers.
there's an architect. I read an article over in Africa has been hired to build schools over there, and all of his schools are open air, lots of glass, natural materials,
Hmm.
and it's all designed to keep the children involved in the environment. It doesn't
Yeah.
separate them from the environment, and it celebrates their environment, and they teach them how to relate to their environment and why that's important. I thought, boy, I mean, go, dude, because that's so important. And here in America, we got kids walking in with AK-47s and shooting the schools up, and we're just like, I just wonder what's wrong. It's not
Yeah.
hard to figure out. It really isn't. Of course, they're not going to come talk to us, but
Right.
I mean, it's just a mess, man. But it's fixing to change big time.
Well, someone was just saying today that we're not talking enough about the new energies that are coming down onto the planet. It's not just that we're eradicating old bad patterns. There's actually new energies that are coming down, and they're energies of beauty and joy and awareness, right? And they're comforting. This is so key. they're comforting energies so that when you do quiet and when you do open up, it's not like, oh, you better watch out. It's energies of just like, it's going to be all right. Life or death is okay. You're going to be all right. Just try not to worry too much. Give up your paranoia, give up your fear, and let's just try to work together because there's the thing. You're never really alone. You can't survive alone. If you think you're alone, you're going to get sick. And so this is where we go looking for allies. And so here's the thing is that until a person gets into that mode of like hugging it, like listening to a tree, they're they're not going to see things as the allies that they are. And I'll just never forget this one friend I had. He was one of my closest friends. And I was trying to explain some of this to him, like, I can really go up and I'm clairsentient more than anything else. So I can feel a tree. I don't listen to it, I don't hear it. I just feel it. We feel together. And I was trying to explain that to him, and he just looked at me like I was crazy. And I could feel, I could feel him thinking, my friends would freak out if they thought
Right,
that I was entertaining, even just entertaining that idea. And it was all about
right.
how he was going to look, how he was going to look. And this
Justifying
is
his existence to his friends.
justifying his existence with his friends because
Right,
not having friends, like you have been saying, is being alone. And they're just not the same thing. They're diametrically opposed, those
right.
two things.
I remember when I first came on the path, a lot of the people that I was friends with, though, when all you're going into a cult and they all haul ass, and then after about a year, and they were watching me and they came and wanted to know if I could help counsel them, and because they were seeing that, well, I think he's onto something. I don't know. Let's go find out,
Mm,
and but I just thought that was kind of ironic, and the counseling really sort of took this shape, took this form. It was like I was trying to get them to understand that, the system that they've involved themselves into, not necessarily voluntarily, but out of the need to survive, you know. I mean, this is what they've been taught. This is what they've been, it's what
yeah.
has been pushed onto them, and it's, it's a terrifying. I've had people tell me when I was talking about path and what I'm on and what I'm doing, and if you want to know about it, I'd be glad to teach you. And they go, "Do you think I should quit my job?" I'm like, "No, I don't think you should quit your job. What, I'm not Jerry Jones, man. I just want to share some information with you. And so anyway, I think this is going to be gaining steam, and everybody needs to kind of just. I agree with you. They need to be able to find comfort in things that they haven't normally thought
Yeah.
about finding comfort in,
Hmm.
and I've noticed a lot of people, more and more people are going, I'm just not going to do social media anymore, man.
Yeah.
I'm just done with that,
Yeah.
because in a way they were looking for allies in that,
Yeah.
and all they got was a bunch of bladder from people that thought, I know more than you do, and look, here it is,
Yeah.
you know. And so it just turned into an enemies list instead of an allies. So,
Right.
but people, I mean, that's what people wanted. That was why Facebook was a success.
Yeah.
They wanted to be part of a community and have people go, boy, it's like somebody, I saw a comedian one time, do you know anybody that's ever gone, I read this thing on Facebook the other day and it was a great, great point and I've changed completely. You know, no,
No,
nobody ever does
yeah, no,
that.
because social media is about cognitive bias, right? So if they agree with you, then they're right. And if they don't agree with you, it's not whether or not you agree with them. People have to agree with you in order for them to be right. And then that just it makes you more alone because you put yourself in
Right.
this silo of information and feedback that doesn't allow you to expand your awareness or your education at all. So Facebook, which was designed by a guy who wanted a way of rating the women on campus from 1 to 10 based on their looks.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Um,
That
has
says a
turned
lot.
right. So there's its origin story.
That guy should have hugged a tree.
Right, exactly, because of the level of toxic masculinity that existed on that campus, he became a sudden superstar
Oh man. Another
and
great
still thinks
story
he
of the
is building a bunker in
yeah,
Hawaii now because he's afraid that everybody's going to come and take his stuff.
right. Right. Yeah. They've taken aloneness and put it into a professional context. Look how successful, and I could be alone better than you.
Right? Boy, you'd get enough money and you can be the biggest loner on the planet.
You can until that day you wake up and realize this is what I really was thinking it would be, you know?
Yeah, I see.
Because psychologically, you're still fooling yourself. I mean, you
Uh-huh.
are.
Yeah,
There's no way that you can paint that. You can put all kinds of lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig, man.
yeah,
You know, it just is. So,
yeah. Well, we are here to keep talking like we're talking, and it's gonna, oh, there's that message again. Go away. It's, I was talking with my hairdresser today. I actually have a hairdresser, and she's a great lady. Used to
I
be
was
our,
just amazed you went and got a haircut.
right? I did look, and I look like the Dos Equis guy now. I tell her, make me look like the Dos Equis guy, and she says, I'm not a miracle worker. But now I forgot why I was going to talk about my
You said you were
hairdresser.
talking to him today.
Yeah, and she's just a great lady. And and I was telling her, I no one's ever really give a shit about what I think. And she was going, yeah, but you should be writing it down. Look at all you know. And I was saying, yeah, yeah, maybe after I'm dead, I'll be famous.
Oh,
So
there's no doubt that we'll be a lot worth a lot more dead than alive.
yeah,
It's,
so
that is there's no doubt about it. I told that to Larry years ago. I mean, people love us after we're dead.
right. And I'm good with that. I'm just gonna keep on
Yeah,
going. It's fun what we're doing,
me too. Me
and
too, man. At least they won't come up and be invading my privacy and my
yeah, exactly.
calmness.
I won't have to suffer the slings and arrows of being famous. We'll just have done our work,
That's
and now people can
that's
sit back and go, "Oh, that wasn't so stupid after all."
right.
Anyway,
That's right.
we are at that point where they're not even giving me the time anymore. So
I got 8 minutes.
yeah, I'm going to cut us off and tell everyone thank you very much for being part of our podcast today, even with all of our little issues and going by. We had fun. We hope you had fun, and you can come and pick up on our past episodes and see a lot about what we're doing if you go and visit us at earth-ems.org, and we'll be out there and you'll be able to see that address. I'm going to tack it on to the end of this podcast as we move forward. Thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you on